Chargers crush Texans 27-7, and now the AFC West is on high alert. One brutal prediction says Kansas City could be falling behind, but a savage schedule stands between the Bolts and a shocking division takeover.
Yeah, I think this is a very good football team. Tell me if you agree. So we're going to start 2-0. You get the Cardinals and the Raiders. We'll see who's playing quarterbacks in both of those situations. Then we go on the road to Buffalo. I say that's a loss. On the road to Seattle, I say that's a loss. Versus the Broncos, who I think are going to be a fantastic football team, a loss. So we're sitting at 2-3. Then we go to the Chiefs, 3-3 going into the bye. We'll see how healthy the Chiefs are, mainly with Patrick Mahomes. 3-3 going into the bye. Then we go Rams, loss. This was a tough one for me, up in the air. Like, I really like the Texans, but they seem to have Herbert's number, so I'm going to go another loss. So you're sitting at 3-5. Then we'll go to Baltimore. I'm going to say they're going to say they go on the road and get a win at Baltimore. Then you're going to reel off some wins. So you started off with 3 straight losses. Then we're going to go win, loss. So we're sitting at 11-6. That is a massive stretch from basically November all the way through to heart of December, and then you finish with loss. I say 11-6.
Okay, so here's my beef with this.
All right.
Chiefs off the bye week, no way they're going to lose that game. That's a win for the Chiefs.
Have you been there practice?
Buddy.
What are you talking about?
You think that the Chiefs are...
I've been in their practice. Have you been in their practice?
No, I haven't been in their
You're
practice.
talking to Chiefs practice?
Yes.
Okay, so you align with thinking this is a Chargers win?
Yes.
Okay. I actually would give the Chargers a win right here over the Broncos. Broncos coming off of a tough game against the San Francisco 49ers.
You're going win.
The other one right here with the Bills, I would actually give them a win right here.
Okay.
The Bills start out with Murderers Row, Houston Texans, Detroit Lions, two physical defenses, two physical teams. A tough defense in there, a really physical offense. I would give them a win there. And then with the Texans one, okay, I agree with it. That's a loss. Texans off the bye. Yeah.
You okay with that November one?
I'm not okay with that one. I would probably give them a loss coming to Baltimore.
I agree.
So that's about where I've got it. Everything else I agree.
Similar record.
Everything else I agree.
All right.
We just had to flip it around.
You like this as well?
8-89 going to add one.
Even when we're on air and they do win, I can't say it publicly. It's got to be a loss.
Steve, go back to something. October 18th at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
CC gave that a loss for the Chargers, and you said, have you been to practice? What exactly did you see there?
Well, see, being just at practice, I just didn't see that wide receiver group really showing me that they're there. Okay. Right? Everybody's focused on Patrick Mahomes. You need to stop focusing on Patrick Mahomes. He'll be fine. It's all those other guys outside of Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. They need to find that bridge gap guy, and I think they found it with Allen, out of the wide receiver out of Cincinnati. That young man, Cyrus Allen, he can really play. He can go up and get the ball. I didn't get a chance to watch him in real life. I've just watched film. He had a tweaked hamstring, but he's really showing it. And then if you watch some of the videos with Rashee Rice, something's going on. He hasn't really got back to himself. Okay. He's a guy underneath bully ball, but they need that guy who in that intermediate route that can be that Travis Kelce. That Travis Kelce now is in his 14th year. He's not the old Travis Kelce, and there's nothing wrong with it.
See, I like manager.
So that's why.
I align with that. Like I've said, I think they need, in Kansas City, I think they need to take the ball out of Patrick's hands.
Okay. Agreed.
They need to take the ball out of his hands instead of Patrick, go be so great. Because they don't have all those pieces for him to just be great. It needs to be a more complementary offense. I think that both Broncos and the Chargers are better equipped in that division over Kansas City. I think that the Chargers, potentially at 11-6, are competing with the Denver Broncos to win the division this year more so than the Chiefs.
And that's going to be the challenge because the Denver Broncos defense is stellar. What I love about the Chargers is the Mike McDaniels effect, that the way he's going to attack defenses, they finally got an offense coordinator who is competent enough to understand Trey Harris using him. He was a guy that was playing in the slot blocking, but when you go back and look at his film, a lot of his work was done outside. So why are you going to draft a second-round pick on an outside wide receiver and stick him in the inside to block, to run block? Makes no sense.
So, Dan, as we look at this, right around there, if there's this massive losing streak that you would have in there, I do wonder if there's a move made somewhere with the Chargers around the deadline if you have that many losses in a row. But all of that then coming into this, where it's tons of wins. Does this lead to a big playoff run?
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. If they're healthy, yes. I mean, if they're healthy, this is going to be a phenomenal football team, and specifically offense. I think
the Chargers didn't just beat Houston. They sent a warning straight through the AFC West. 27-7. One-sided, physical, convincing. And suddenly, an 11-6 prediction for Los Angeles doesn't sound like blind optimism anymore. It sounds like a threat to Kansas City. The biggest question isn't whether the Chargers are good. It's whether the Chiefs are still the team everyone else has to chase. Because one analyst is already saying the Chargers could be better equipped than Kansas City to win this division, and that is where this conversation gets dangerous. But before you crown Los Angeles, look at the schedule, because the road to 11 wins is absolutely brutal. The original prediction starts aggressively.
2 straight wins against the Cardinals and Raiders put the Chargers at 2-0.
Then comes the first wall, Buffalo on the road. Loss. Then Seattle on the road. Another loss. And against Denver, the prediction initially calls another defeat. That leaves Los Angeles at 2-3. Then comes the October 18 showdown at Kansas City, and suddenly the entire prediction changes. The Chargers win. 3-3 heading into the bye. After that, a loss to the Rams puts them at 3-4. Another difficult matchup against Houston becomes another loss, bringing them to 3-5. And then comes the swing. Baltimore. Win. From there, the Chargers supposedly rip off a massive winning streak, 6 wins in 7 games, before dropping the finale. Final record? 11-6. That is not an easy path. That is a gauntlet. But then came the disagreement, because another analyst looked at that Kansas City matchup and essentially said, no way. The argument was simple. Kansas City is coming off the bye. And the response? That's a Chiefs win. But then came the uncomfortable question. Have you been to practice? The answer was no. And that opened the door to the bigger issue surrounding Kansas City. Everyone keeps talking about Patrick Mahomes. But what if Mahomes isn't the problem? What if the pieces around him are? The Chiefs have Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, but there are still questions about the receiving group. Cyrus Allen, the young wide receiver from Cincinnati, has flashed the ability to attack the football vertically, although a hamstring issue has complicated his evaluation. And Rice? The argument is that he still hasn't completely looked like himself. Then there is Travis Kelce, now entering his 14th season. He can still contribute, but expecting the old Kelce to simply reappear every week is unrealistic. Kansas City may need to stop asking Mahomes to perform miracles and start building a more complementary offense around him. And that is exactly why the Chargers suddenly look so dangerous. The Chargers believe they finally have an offense capable of attacking defenses differently. The Mike McDaniel effect could be enormous. The emphasis is not simply on asking Herbert to be Superman. It is about creating answers. One example is Trey Harris, a player who spent time in the slot and was asked to block, despite having film showing he could make plays outside. And that raises a brutal question. Why draft a second-round wide receiver for his ability on the outside, only to use him primarily as a blocker inside? That philosophy has to change. Because if the Chargers can unlock those weapons while keeping Justin Herbert healthy, this offense could become the engine behind a serious playoff push. But there is one enormous problem standing between this team and the division title. The real challenger to Los Angeles might not be Kansas City anymore. It could be Denver. One analyst argued that both the Broncos and Chargers are better equipped than the Chiefs right now, and that the Chargers at 11-6 could be fighting Denver for the AFC West crown. But Denver's defense is the nightmare. Physical, aggressive, relentless. And if Los Angeles hits that projected stretch of losses around November, the pressure could become overwhelming. At that point, the question becomes, Does the Chargers front office make a move at the trade deadline? Because an 11-6 team can be built from momentum. But a team buried under a brutal losing streak may need reinforcements before the season gets away. And that brings us to the prediction that could define the entire season. The Chargers have the quarterback. They have the offensive upside. They have a new offensive identity. And now they have a statement win, 27-7 over Houston. But the schedule is unforgiving. The AFC West is unforgiving. And injuries could decide everything. If Los Angeles stays healthy, the belief is that this can be a phenomenal football team, not just a playoff participant, but a legitimate division contender. So forget the hype for a moment. Look at the schedule. Look at the quarterback. Look at Kansas City's questions. Look at Denver's defense. Then ask yourself one question. Are the Chargers really an 11-6 team, or are we watching the beginning of an AFC West takeover? Because if that 27-7 score was the warning shot, the rest of the league better start paying attention. And if Los Angeles really is better equipped than Kansas City this year, the biggest upset in the AFC West may already be taking shape.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.